Now, the trap that many leaders fall into is having too many messages. I've known leaders go into an interview thinking they're going to get across 10 key points. It's just not going to happen. They're not going to remember 10 key points, and they're certainly not going to have the opportunity to get into that much detail in an interview. One overarching key message. A great rule of thumb is to imagine you're talking to somebody who's getting into an elevator. The doors are closing, and you call out, remember, ... Whatever comes after the ... is your key message. What is it about your topic, whatever is happening, that you can articulate in one sentence? If you're not clear on that, it's going to be pretty hard for you to get your message across clearly in the interview and uphold your side of the arm wrestle. So be clear on your own message. You might have a couple of sub-points, but don't give yourself too many because you simply won't remember when you're in the pressure of the interview. Keep it simple and be aware their agenda isn't the same as yours. So prepare for that. Now, one of the most intimidating elements of doing a media interview is the fear of being hit with some difficult or negative question, and now you're put on the spot. You might be live on radio or have a TV camera in your face and you freeze. You just don't know what to say. Some of that can be mitigated simply by understanding what journalists look for. I've already covered that a little bit. So the more you can get into the journalist mindset, the less you're going to be blindsided by questions because you'll understand that they're just doing their job. But a great technique that can help you in the moment is what I like to call the lane technique. Imagine that you're up on the starting blocks of an Olympic swimming pool and you've got the lanes stretching out before you, right? And immediately in front of you will be your lane. Think of your key message as being your lane. So if you're asked questions that relate directly to your key message, well, you're in your lane. And so that's relatively easy. You can answer those questions. Some questions might be just getting out to the edge of the lane, and it's important for you to just direct them back into the lane itself. You can use a technique where you acknowledge the question and then you simply reiterate your key message. So you could say something like, that's one view, but what I want to stress here is, and now you're back into your key message. They might put something to you that's not quite accurate. You could say, that's not the case. What I want to stress is, and now you're back into your key message. So can you hear what I'm doing there? You're acknowledging it, but quite firmly and respectfully, you're getting back into the middle of your lane. Sometimes though, you'll get asked a question that's right outside your lane that you can't answer. Maybe it's because you don't know the answer. Maybe it's because it relates to something that's part of a legal process or a personnel situation that you can't comment on. Or maybe it relates to something very political and that's not your role. So outside your lane, really a similar technique, but very firmly make it clear that you're not going to speculate on that, or you're not going to respond to that fully because it relates to a matter that's before the court. But what you can speak about is, so now you're back in your lane. If you don't know the answer, just be very clear. You don't have to apologise. I don't have that information to hand. But what I can give you more detail on is this. Back into the lane. So acknowledge, but back into the lane. Don't try and duck and weave. This is not a technique for trying to get out of speaking about a difficult situation. You need to be very open and transparent, but it's certainly helpful in the moment when you get put on the spot. You've only got a few minutes for the interview and you just don't want to get taken down a rabbit hole or get involved in a negative question. Acknowledge it firmly, calmly, redirect back into your key message. Now, there's so much more to this, but hopefully that's given you just a couple of insights into how the media works, how to get clear on just one key message, and very quickly a technique for helping you in those difficult put-on-the-spot moments. I can't stress enough, you need a deep bench In your organization, you need a number of people who have the training and the experience and the confidence to be able to front up should something happen and the media comes calling. I can absolutely help you with that. So if you would like to go more deeply into these techniques, and certainly these are areas that you need to practice and rehearse, then let's reach out. Reach out to me, let's have a chat. I'd love to talk to you about how I can work directly with your leaders to make sure that they have spotlight mastery, that they are credible, comfortable, confident in the glare of the media spotlight or any pressure communication situations. They're able to shine, they're able to be clear, they're able to give certainty, and they're able to protect your reputation and your brand when you need it most. Thanks for listening. Look forward to sharing more next time. Bye for now.